Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Well, this is the prep that I was waiting on right here that I wanted to show you guys. So in the past I've been talking about getting a wood stove. However, there is no way that I can really fit a wood stove into my house. There's nowhere I can really put it where it would be okay because of the clearance that's needed. So what I did was I looked around to see if I could find something that would work with no electricity and that would have a direct vent to the outside. That way I didn't have to worry about humidity inside the house, because when you burn propane inside the house and it's not vented, it'll produce humidity inside the house. So it'll get too humid and then you'll run into mold problems and things like that. So this is what I've got right here. What I've got here is I've got two 120-gallon propane bottles that got installed, and I'm going to show you inside what I got. So I still plan, anyways, these two propane bottles, if I don't use the propane inside of them for heating, they will literally last me about 6 to 8 years of use if I just use them for my range. It's about how long they'll last me. And as you all know, or if those of you that don't know, propane does not have an expiration. All right, propane is not like gasoline. Gasoline will expire even if you treat it with Stabil. Even if you treat gasoline, it'll expire after a certain number of years, considering how you store it. Okay, you got to make sure it's sealed and everything. But propane does not have an expiration date. These things will literally last indefinitely. Okay, so I've got enough propane here to last me, like I said, 6 to 8 years if I only use it for my range. However, I paid to have a propane line. I paid for a line to get plumbed to my range and to a different part of the house. And I'm going to go ahead and walk inside now and show you all what it's plumbed to, and you probably already know. So this was a pretty pricey prep, but I think it is very well worth it because it gives me peace of mind. And let's go in the house here real quick. Had the door open just so I could, let me close this door real quick. All right, it's a little dark in here until I turn on the light. So this right here is my Toyo stove. This is the one that runs on fuel oil, okay? Kind of like diesel fuel. It is very efficient and it does a very good job, but it needs electricity to run. So I got this right here, which is installed right next to it. And this is what's called an Empire direct vent propane heater, and it vents straight to the outside. So it doesn't use any of the air from the inside to ignite the flames. And this thing doesn't need any electricity at all. Now this right here is a 35,000 BTU heater. My Toyo stove is a 40,000 BTU heater. So they are very comparable. Now after I did the math, 1 gallon of propane is equivalent to roughly 93,000 BTUs. If this heater here runs at full blast at 35,000 BTUs, it'll consume 1 gallon of propane every 2.5 to 3 hours. Okay? Now I've done some calculations, and in order for this heater right here to heat my home when it's like, you know, pretty cold, I would say -10 or below, it turns on average for about 10 minutes every hour or so. Okay, so you're talking about 240 minutes a day that it turns on. Oh, I'm sorry, yes, 240 minutes a day that it turns on, which is about 4 hours. Okay, which means that if this is just as efficient as my Toyo, and I believe it is, it means that I will be able to heat my house with this stove that doesn't use electricity, or not stove, but this heater that doesn't use electricity, for about 1.25 gallons of propane a day. right? And outside in those 2 bottles of propane that I just showed you all, I've got, they're 120 gallon capacity. However, they only fill them up to 96 gallons. So let's round that off to 100 gallons. So I've got 200 gallons of propane out there. If I had to use this to heat my home because we lost electricity, I would be able to heat my home for 200 divided by about, what is it? Divided by about 2 gallons roughly a day. So let's say 2 gallons on the high side. Okay, it's actually about 1.5 gallons a day, but let's say 2 gallons on the high side. So you take 2 gallons and divide it into 200, you're looking at about 100 days of heating. So this will get me through almost the whole winter. And if it were a situation where I knew that we weren't going to get electricity for a long time and that fuel was going to be really scarce to get, then I definitely would not be heating my home to as high a temperature as I heat it now. I would probably heat the home to about 50 to 55 degrees. Enough for us to be able to live, even though we have to be bundled up most of the time. But we would be able to survive that temperature, 55 degrees or so. And even in worst case scenario, even 50 degrees, okay? So this right here gives me peace of mind that if we ever have an electrical outage that lasts a long time, I know for a fact now that I will be able to heat my home without having to rely on electricity, okay? And also, some people may say, well, how does the hot air circulate if it doesn't have a fan? Well, the way that heat works is, I forgot the name for it, but heat rises and cold drops. So just the natural rising of the heat and the dropping of the cold air will circulate the air around. However, I'm looking to purchase a small fan that works off of a 12-volt battery or a USB that I can connect to a car charger, or I have a battery. I have a power generator, a crank power generator that I haven't showed you guys that yet, but I have a power generator that you can do it by hand cranking that will connect to that. So we can always make do with that if there is some situation where there's a long-term power outage. But that's my Prepp, ladies and gentlemen. Pretty expensive Prepp, although I lucked out because this heater right here is a $1,200 heater. And when the company that installed it quoted me on this, they quoted me $800 on paper. So I was able to get this heater installed, get those bottles installed outside, and get all of the plumbing done for about $1,500, which it sounds pretty pricey, but you know what? I now have peace of mind that I will not have to worry if the electricity goes out as far as heating my home. Okay, now as far as for a wood stove, let's say there was an SHTF or something like that happen, I can always have a wood stove on standby. So that is still on the list for me to purchase and just have one stored away with all of the plumbing stored away. And if there was ever an SHTF where we knew that we were not going to have electricity for a very long time, this would get me by until I could remove this right here and install a wood stove in its place, and we would be able to get by. So what this is doing is it's going to buy me time to be able to hook up a wood stove, and I wouldn't have to be wondering if I was going to be able to heat my home or not in between the transition of disconnecting this and putting a wood stove in its place. So I am pretty excited about it. I'm very happy. It's something I've been working on for a while. It actually took me about a month and a half or so and 2 companies to actually come out here and install this and do this job. So it was a pretty frustrating experience because up here in Alaska, one thing I've noticed is that there's plenty of work, and you either work with the company and their schedule, or you just go somewhere else. So I actually had to leave the first company that I was trying to get to install one of these and go to another company and then get on their schedule, which took even longer because the first company was just not very reliable. They kept canceling every time that we set a date, and I kept taking a day off of work to meet them here so that they can do it, and they kept canceling. And finally, I just told them to erase my data, that I was going to go with someone else. And every time a door closes, another door opens, and usually for a good reason, because the first company that I was going to get was going to sell me a stove, I keep saying stove, but a heater just like this one, but a 15,000 BTU heater, which would have worked as well. However, they were going to charge me more for that 15,000 BTU heater than what I ended up paying for this heater right here. And I had my problems with the second company as well, as far as them keeping their schedule that they made with me to come out here. They had a couple of missed calls, and I was very upset, but they finally stood to their word and came out here and did the job. And for that, I am very happy that they came out here and did that. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That is my big prep that I've been telling you guys that I was going to do. This thing is pretty awesome. It comes with a thermostat, and it's a mechanical thermostat, so you don't need any electricity whatsoever. It's just a mechanical thermostat that you set about 10 feet away or so from the heater, and that turns it on and turns it off. And it has a pilot also, so it's always got a pilot running, which is good to leave the pilot running on the machine even when it's not in use, because it keeps the parts in there from getting rusted, from getting rusty in case there's any humidity in the air. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I just wanted to show you this real quick. Like I said, I'm pretty excited. Eventually, I'm going to try to get rid of those 2 big bottles that I just showed you outside, and I'm going to try to get like a 1,000-gallon LP tank out in my backyard. But first, I have to complete doing the work back there on my land. I have to level everything out back there and make a spot for it, and then I'm going to switch out those tanks with a 1,000-gallon tank. So that'll probably come either next year or the year after. More than likely, it'll be the year after next. So I'll probably end up just keeping all of them, keeping the 2 big bottles and the 1,000-gallon tank. If I put a 1,000-gallon tank in there, I will have enough propane to heat my house for, like, I would say 4 years easily. For 4 years, I would be able to heat my house with a 1,000-gallon tank. So that would give me a lot of flexibility as far as heating my home, because up here in Alaska, one thing you have to understand, one of the priorities that you have, if not the biggest priority in the wintertime, is how to heat your home in many different ways. So I like redundancy. In addition to these 2 heaters here, I have another heater that I can use for a backup that is a propane heater that will heat my entire home, but it's not direct vent, all right? It's not a direct vent heater, so it will create moisture in the house. But for an SHTF where you don't have a choice, I'm sure that not too many people would complain, all right? And in addition to those 2 big bottles that I have out there, I also have 4 100-pound bottles that I keep full at all times. And I also have 6 20-pound bottles that I keep full at all times, especially during the winter. So I've got plenty of propane to heat my house, I would say, for a full year easily, if something were to happen and I lost electricity or the availability of fuel to use with this machine right here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. That was my big prep that I told you guys about that I've been working on for a while. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a like and share. Okay, and remember, I'm going to keep reminding you all every time I make a video that this Sunday I am going to be announcing the winner of the 3-item prepper giveaway, or the 3 prepper item giveaway. Okay, so if you haven't visited my video for last Sunday, just this last Sunday that just passed, make sure you go on there, take a look at the items that I'm giving away, and make sure that you leave a comment, and if you're not subscribed, subscribe, because you need to be subscribed to enter into the giveaway. Okay, and I'm only going to be counting original comments. Okay, I've already seen a couple of people get on there and comment like 10 times. Every time that you comment is not an entry. I mean, you can comment as much as you want, but every time you comment is not an entry, because I had a subscriber hit me up today and asked me if they were too late for the giveaway, and I said, no, go ahead and take a look at this video and leave a comment. And they ended up leaving like, they must have left like 8 or 9 comments at least. So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, good talking to you all. I hope you all had a good day today. I just got home from work, so it's time to make some dinner and relax. So remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place. And you know that it will be a better place. Many blessings to all of you and your families. This is Alaska Prepper, and I'm out.